CSEC Physics Paper 1, June 2018. Let us begin. Errors due to parallax can be minimized by B. Placing the eye at right angles to the mark being read. Number 2. Which of the following measuring instruments is most suitable for accurately measuring the volume of 40.2 cm³ of liquid? D. Measuring cylinder. Number 3. Which of the following changes can be caused by a force acting on a body? A. Shape and motion. Number 4. The mass of an astronaut is 70 kg when standing on the moon. When he returns to the Earth, his approximate weight will be D. 700 newtons. Number 5. The moment of a force is defined as C. The product of the force and its perpendicular distance from the turning point. Number 6. What should be the magnitude and direction of the third force which will cause the object to remain stationary? B. X plus Y moving to the left. When a force F is applied to a spring of original length L, the new length becomes L plus X. What would be the length of the spring if a force of F over 2 or F divided by 2 is applied instead? D. L plus X over 2. Number 8. Which of the following readings is shown on the scale above? B. 12.26 cm. Number 9. Which of the following measures may be classified as scalar quantities? A. Time and speed. Number 10. Pressure in a liquid can be calculated using the formula P equal rho GH. Which of the following sets of units will result in the SI unit of pressure? D. Number 11. The vectors at point O are directed perpendicular to each other. Which of the following pairs represents both the magnitude and direction of their resultant? D. Traveling in the direction of OC, and this is the formula for the magnitude of the resultant using Pythagoras theorem. Number 12. Acceleration due to gravity is to be determined by measuring the time taken for a small steel ball to fall through a specific height. Which of the following activities is unnecessary? A. To find the mass of the ball. Acceleration due to gravity is independent of the mass of an object. Number 13. From the graph, it can be deduced that the runner is B. Going at a steady pace. Number 14. The time period of a simple pendulum oscillating with a small amplitude depends on C. The length of the pendulum. An object is removed from the ground and placed on a shelf. Which of the object's properties is expected to increase? C. Its potential energy. The pressure due to the water is the greatest at QA. A bubble of gas rises to the surface of a soft drink. This is because B. The upthrust on the bubble is greater than the weight of the bubble. Number 18. Which of the following statements about the pressure law are true? A. The ratio of pressure to Kelvin, which is absolute temperature, is constant, and also volume is constant. Which of the following statements 19. Which of the following statements concerning the radiation of heat is or are true? D. A good absorber of radiation is also a good emitter of radiation. Dull surfaces are better emitters than shiny ones. 20. An electric kettle of water is plugged into the mains. The process by which heat travels through the water is known as convection. 1. The energy required to change the state of a substance was determined to be E subscript H. If the mass of the substance is doubled, the value of E subscript H will be doubled also. 22. Which of the following statements about evaporation is false? A. Evaporation occurs only at room temperature. 23. Some molten naphthalene at 100 degrees Celsius is allowed to cool to room temperature. If naphthalene has a melting point of 80 degrees Celsius, which of the following graphs best represents the cooling curve of naphthalene? This would be C. 24. The isolated heat of vaporization of water is the energy required to change 1 kg of water at 100 degrees Celsius to steam at 100 degrees Celsius. C. A metal of mass m requires energy E to raise its temperature from T1 to T2. The specific heat capacity of the metal will be given by D. And there's a slight difference between D and C, with final temperature being subtracted by the initial temperature. Number 26. When heating a substance, a point is reached where no further change in temperature is observed. The most likely reason for this is that the B substance is changing state, and you can go back to the naphthalene cooling curve and you will realize that there was an area that is almost flat. That means it is actually changing state right there at 80 degrees Celsius. Which of the following phenomena are exhibited by sound waves? 27. All. Whenever there is complete destructive interference between two coherent wave trains, the waves must be C. Out of phase by one wavelength. 29. Which of the following statements is true? C. Q is louder than P, but P has a higher pitch. 30. Which of the following expresses the correct relationship between wavelength, speed, and frequency of a wave? A. Frequency equals velocity over wavelength. Which of the following best represents the image produced by the plane mirror? B. 32. Which line lies along the principal axis of the converging lens? A. J, K. 33. Which of the following diagrams illustrates the law of reflection? A. 34. Which of the following types of electromagnetic radiation causes tanning? D. Ultraviolet. 35. A ray of white light enters a transparent glass prism. In which of the following diagrams is dispersion of light correctly illustrated? A. 36. Which diagram best shows the path taken by a ray of light through a rectangular block? C. 37. A ray of light leaves the air and enters glass of refractive index 1.5 if the angle of incidence is 37 degrees. What is the sign of the angle of refraction? D. Sine 37 over 1.5. 38. At some point along xy, no sound is heard because C. Interference of sound waves takes place. 39. The human ear is incapable of hearing a silent dog whistle because C. The frequency of the waves are above the range detected by the human ear. Which of the following 40. Which of the following electromagnetic waves has shortest wavelength? A. Gamma rays. 41. Which of the following diagrams shows the magnetic field formed between a bar magnet and a piece of iron? C. 42. Which of the following current time graphs best represents a DC current? A. 43. Which of the following arrangements is best suited for measuring a lamp's voltage? C. 44. The unit of potential difference is defined as joule per coulomb. D. 45. Which of the following circuit diagrams best represents a series arrangement? B. 46. Given that the potential difference across the lamp in the circuit is 4 volts, what is the potential difference across A? This is C. 12 volts minus 4 volts. 47. Which symbol represents the NAND gate? D. 48. What is the output at C and D when the input at A is 0 and the input at B is 1? The answer is 0, 1, B. 49. An ideal transformer has a primary to secondary turn ratio of 1 to 3. An alternating potential difference of 200 volts is applied to the primary coil and a resistance of 200 ohms attached to the secondary coil. What is the current in the secondary circuit? D. 3 amperes. 50. What is the period of the current? B. 4 seconds. In which of the following 51. In which of the following circuits will the lamp Light up. B. 52. Which of the following options show the correct match of the component name and its number? A. 53. The parts labeled X in the diagram are known as D. Slip rings. 54. Half-life is defined as A. The time it takes half of the radioactive atoms in a sample to decay. 55. Which of the following scientists discovered the relationship E equal mc squared? D. Albert Einstein. 56. The following cannot be deflected by a magnetic field. C. Gamma rays. 57. The nuclide contains C. 90 protons and 144 neutrons. 58. Which of the following statements about radioactive decay are correct? B. It is a random process, and also it is due to changes in the nuclei of atoms. 59. Which of the following graphs best represents the variation with time of the number n of undecayed nuclei present? D. 60. Which of the following equations is correct? C.